Hi there, adapters. We are here at the Urban Living Festival, Canary Wharf, capturing all the adaption and innovation thoughts and thought leaders. And I'm here with a thought leader. Julie, it is so good to have you.
Nice to
There's
be here.
lots of noise and energy around us here. So you have a massive perspective. And we were talking about what is adaption versus innovation. What's your thoughts on that?
That's a tricky one. I've been thinking about this, and I keep having other words popping in my mind. Well, how about revolution? Hotels used to be the center of the hub of a community within cities. Then they started all looking a little bit all the same around the world when the big brands decided, to kind of position these more cookie cutter type of hotels around. And now they're kind of coming back to the idea that a hotel needs to be a bit unique and have some personality and be embedded in its community and understand the individual needs of its guests. So there's a bit of a revolution. Or is it innovation? Is it adaptation?
Who knows? So this is saying that the forces outside are pushing hotels to think about inside. That's an unusual twist. What's going to happen to the world of branding and consistency? Does this mean that it's just being turned upside down?
Probably. I mean, there may still be a place for the more kind of rigid standards. Some brands, some travelers do like knowing exactly what their room's going to look like wherever they are in the world. There's always need for these kind of things. But people, like to see a bit more personality. And for the hotels themselves, there's a need for that. They need to look beyond the bed revenue, and to be able to do that, they need to provide different types of services, and being able to reach out to the community around the guests is the best way of doing that. And some hotels are doing it. Some brands have managed to do it really well. I was at the Mondrian Hotel in Shoreditch a few months ago, where their F&B is amazing, and most of their guests within the restaurants come actually from the outside. They don't come from outside of the guests. So there's innovation there. They're kind of looking outside of their comfort zone.
I mean, Questex looks across the spectrum of hospitality, and you think about the communities that are being built. And there's all these labels out there right now, community, the notion of experience. How is that being defined? I feel very confused.
That's a tricky one, because it's one of those words that people like saying because it looks good. But a few companies actually do it, and it's hard to scale. There's on the one hand the local community that's physically around the hotel. So reaching out to the neighborhood to bring more guests into the hotel to consume different products. But there's also, and we kind of touching on the technological innovations as well. There's the digital community. That's a kind of nebulous thing, but brands like Soho House, for instance, they announced that they're launching a digital membership, or did they announce it, or rumored? But that's the kind of thing that can actually be a proper innovation.
When you speak about communities and we think about startups and we think about how they build the experience around an outcome. They want to get startups to scale, and then from scaling to maybe going into a larger office, like what they're doing at Level 39 here at Canary Wharf. Do you think that the broader definition of accommodation can ever think like that?
I think some companies can, definitely, and there are some great examples of hybrid types of properties and concepts, and that's another one. That's a hybridization of the real estate or of properties. I think that's where a lot of the innovation.
Now, is that yielding and getting, squeaking more income out of the asset, or is that a true product?
It depends on how it's done, I suppose, because there are companies that can look at the Hoxton, for instance. They got co-working before everybody else started talking about it. And that's another one that Accor kind of grabbed and brought into their newly rebranded what's it called, the new group's lifestyle and luxury portfolio. So some companies can do it. A lot are trying to emulate and. To an extent, doing something along those lines, but I think that's where, yes, most of the innovation is going to come from, the blending, merging of concepts.
We at the Adapters are encouraging the hospitality and broader interpretation of TTH, travel, tourism, and hospitality, to look over the fence. The NED here, we heard this, just recently. You can go. I had dinner there on Monday night. Great band playing up on this fantastic podium, rocking and rolling, and you can go to 5, 6, 7 concepts and equally go downstairs and see the vault and rent it. It's an amazing change, but somehow we need to continue to inspire that. So finally, what are your tips and takes for, all the leaders that are out there thinking about what is community, what is adaption, what is innovation? What should they do? What action should they take to be adapters, innovators, and community builders?
I think, and that's true for all sectors really, is to look at what's happening outside of your comfort zone. Travel to the areas where you would never consider traveling. Go and see exhibitions. Go and see properties that are not in your portfolio, that are not even in your line of sight, and see what's being done. That's the only way to innovate really, is to try and get a different angle on things.
Love that angle concept. It's the fact that Questex is coming to a different show to see what they're thinking about, and vice versa. Piers goes to Questex. Questex also has got a varied portfolio, all the way from med tech all the way to the bar and restaurant show and hotels. So having this insight is probably the greatest inspiration that leaders that are running businesses should get on the bike. It may be an e-bike, and go have a look at something else. So with that, to all the adapters out there, we're out from Canary Wharf.